everybody to know. But there could be some persons, even when they are relating well, that will want to take advantage of all these stories to not create problems for the governor. So I think that that warning was quite apt at this moment, a project. And the government has gotten a contractor. You know, a contractor can come from anywhere. But I tell you, there is no kind of project that can be going on in a place without the immediate environs being beneficiaries. Definitely, some of the jobs will definitely be theirs. But unless if they feel they are being shortchanged, people are not going outside them to go and bring in workers, then that could lead to agitation. But one thing I want to point out here is that, you know, we are in a state where before now, the issue of people wanting to make demands, marching ground, and we have some kind of things. And now, by the time the former governor was in power, he made it clear. In fact, there was a legislation to that effect. You don't begin to demand for this, demand for that. There's nothing, marching ground, and that. Those were made offenses. So the point is this. When a job has been given to a contractor, it's the contractor that knows, because it's a business, the contractor is a businessman. He intends to make profit. So he knows how to, maximize his own interest by getting the kind of workers he needs and all the rest. But definitely, jobs like gatemen, security, and all the rest is for the interest of the contractor, such a contractor, that he acquires them.
Meanwhile, the PG coordinator, Rivers State University Law Faculty, Dr. Martina Mwanyamu, advised both the host and surrounding communities to desist from further interruption of the project.
What is called compulsory acquisition of land for overriding public interest. If the acquisition is for public interest, the community, in stricter sense, does not have what it takes to stop a project that is being carried out by the governor. And the community itself, they actually have a grievance. There are better ways to ventilate these grievances other than disrupting a laudable project that the government had put in place. In my view, I think the warning by the governor is quite apt. And if the community feels 20,000 housing units that is meant and intended to decongest the other part of Port Harcourt is something that they can sabotage. Well, I don't see a human being or anybody trying to fight government. And
Commissioner of Police Delta State Commander Abinawonda Surajuddin Olufemi has ordered the detention of the policeman who allegedly shot the vigilante commander of Idahe Kingdom in Ethiopia, West Local Government area of the state. It was gathered that the kingdoms of vigilante commander Freeborn Ofoshowo, Elias Cornerstone, and two of his lieutenants, Friday Johnson and Eno Young, were shot by the policemen when they allegedly invaded the kingdom on January 30th, 2024, under the guise of searching for drugs. Although the vigilante commander and his other two men survived the shooting, they are, however, said to still be lying in critical condition at an undisclosed hospital. In a chat with newsmen on Friday, the spokesperson for the Delta State Police Command, DSP Bright Edafi, confirmed the development, but quickly disclosed that the CP Olufemi, who assumed the duty as the 22nd CP to Delta State, has ordered that the policemen allegedly involved in the shooting be detained while the incident is being investigated. Meanwhile, the Delta State CP order may have stemmed from the protest by residents of Idahe communities demanding that the policemen behind the shooting must be fished out. Governor Umar Eno of Akwa Ibom State has stressed that the Niger Delta Development Commission should collaborate with the 9 state governments to enhance development of the region in line with its core mandate. Eno, according to a statement on Friday, met the core when Chairman of the governing body of the NDDC, Chiedu Ebie, and the management team paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Uyo. He advised that as an interventionist agency, the Commission should not be involved in politics and then lose focus on its core mandate of developing the region and Nigeria as a whole. He expressed the optimism that the NDDC new leadership would move away from satisfying a purely political purpose witnessed over the years so that people of the region would begin to feel its impacts more, advising that intervention programs for the state should be based on needs assessment to avoid replication of projects. In his remarks earlier, Chairman of the Board, Chiedu Ebie, congratulated the governor for his victory at the Supreme Court, assuring him of the Commission's commitment to work with all state governments in the Niger Delta to deliver on its mandate of bringing the dividends of democracy to the people. He also assured that the board was ready to work closely with the Akwa Ibom state government in the area of infrastructure development and empowerment, adding that the development of the region will be based on need assessment. Uduak Ekpo Ufot, who represents Etinan State constituency in the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, has expressed concerns about the outdated nature of the current school curricula, stating that it fails to adequately prepare learners for future challenges and tasks. He said the academic curricula in Nigeria and by extension, Akwa Ibom State educational institutions, nursery, primary, secondary, and tertiary is older than Nigeria itself. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, GC John Kelly, blamed the hurdles in the Nigerian educational sector on insensitive leadership, corruption, untrained facilitators, and lack of foresight over the next generation.
Earlier, I said it will not work because I know that we have lazy set of teachers in this part of the world, both from the higher institution. Both our professors are lazy. Because you see a professor of science, maybe a professor of mechanical engineering cannot even fix his own car. I'm just giving you that as an instance. And he's teaching you automobile. Probably he's even teaching you combustion, and yet he does not even understand how the engine works. When he opens his engine, he cannot even do it. So these are the things we should first look at. If he wants to do anything, he should start by training the teachers. And not just train the teachers, make the teachers love it. It's what you know, what you love, that you can teach another. If we have, like for instance, we see that our people here, we travel out of the country, and when we get to these countries, they say the slave trade is this, is that, but when we get there, we look for jobs there. Some of our jobs are teaching jobs. We teach over there, we do other things over there. Ask yourself, how many of these schools around, how many of these government schools around has foreign teachers in them? Everybody has their own sense of reasoning. You come from a different place, I come from a different place. When I'm teaching you from my own angle. You're also learning from this other angle. So that will help the child to learn better. But here, we want to use, because we say we want to create job for our people, we want to use 100% of our people in the schools to teach. Now, this now makes the teachers feel this is community chance. Now, when you feel this is community chance, it's my right. Whether I teach or I don't teach, I'll get paid. That's why I'm telling you that if government put in even the entire state budget into ICT in school, it won't work because the teachers will kill it. They will build it. While I was growing up, I think that was when computer was actually introduced. In my school then, the government had to build an ICT hall, bought a whole lot of computer, then we are having desktop and all the rest of them. We bought a lot of them. Where are they today? Where are they? And then even other government that came started even building ICT, build almost in all government schools, they were building ICT. The question is, where are they today? So you see, we are not even ready for it. So don't, if you pump in money, there is a way.
The High Court sitting in Abuja has granted bail to the suspended Dean of the Faculty of Law, University of Calabar, Professor Cyril Ndifon, and one barrister, Sani Anyawu, in the sexual harassment and gratification case instituted against them by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. Ndifon was granted 250 million naira bail, while Sani was granted bail with 50 million naira, among other stringent bail conditions. The defense counsel, Joe Agui, and Solomon Omor had urged the court to grant their lead clients bail on liberal terms, but the prosecution counsel countered the bail application, asking the court to dismiss it because the done would interfere with the evidence of the witness. Ruling on the bail on Friday, Justice James Omotosho held that while bail is a constitutional right, the court must be guided by the nature of a charge and the possibility of the accused person interfering with the case against him, among other things. He said the defendants are facing sexual harassment offenses for requesting nude videos, but they are not capital offenses like terrorism. Subsequently, Justice Omotosho adjourned the matter to Monday for the continuation of the hearing. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Edo State on Friday sought the support of the National Youth Service Corps ahead of the September 21, 2024 governorship election in the state. Dr. Anubum Onoha, the state resident electoral commissioner, made the call during a familiarization visit to Ifoma Ben Ushie, the state NOIC coordinator in Benin City. Onoha said NOIC had been a critical stakeholder in Nigeria's electoral process, adding that corps members would be needed for the conduct of the Edo off-season election coming up in September. While responding, Ben Ushie thanked the INEC rec for the visit, saying she was also barely 2 weeks old in the state. He disclosed that the MOU between INEC and NOIC was over 10 years before it was reviewed in 2013. According to her, court members have been doing the job satisfactorily along with the inspectors monitoring. Labour Party approved a slight adjustment in its guidelines ahead of the Edo State governorship primary election. The adjustment followed the outcome of the meeting of the party's National Working Committee on Friday. This was made known in a statement issued on Friday by Obiora Ifo, the National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party. Ifo said the sale of firms earlier slated to end on Saturday, February 10, is now shifted to Monday, February 12, while the governorship primaries earlier fixed for February 22nd will now be held on February 23rd. According to him, the leadership of the party similarly adjusted the guidelines for the emergence of the candidate for the election. He explained that the leadership of the party increased the number of local government delegates from 5 to 7 in all 18 LGAs. Before noted that the party, in taking the decision, listened to submissions from the various stakeholders of the party, including the members of the National Assembly, elders and leaders of the party in the state. He said they all agreed to increase the number of delegates to ensure more participation and democratization of the exercise. The party further pledged to ensure a level playing field for all aspirants, insisting it would not in any way interfere in the process leading to the emergence of its flag bearer. The Lagos State government has issued a travel advisory ahead of the annual Access Bank Lagos City Marathon scheduled for tomorrow, Saturday, February 10, 2024. The State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Osiyemi, who announced this on Friday, said the marathon will take place between the hours of 5 a.m. and 2 p.m. Osiyemi listed the following routes to be temporarily shut to motorists during the marathon as Funsho Williams Avenue from Stadium, Surulere Ikorodu Road to Anthony, Bagada to 3rd Mainland Bridge and 3rd Mainland Bridge inbound and outbound. Others include Dolphin Road to Alfred Rwani Road, Falomore Roundabout, Bodilon Road, Lekki Bridge to Freedom Way, Akin Adeshola to Amadu Bello Way. Consequently, the following alternative routes will be available during the marathon: upon Bond Bridge inwards, Eco Bridge through Costain Roundabout, Ikmonri and Bode Thomas for a desired destination, or utilize Eco Bridge through Costain Roundabout and Apapa Road to link Oyimbo Jeba to access Habat Macaulay for a desired destination. Motorists can equally go through Victoria Island to link Independence Bridge and CMS Bridge to access Aponbon inwards, Ijora Olakba to Ido and Oyinbo to connect Habat Macaulay Road to continue their journeys. He, however, urged motorists who have no serious business along the marathon diversion route to avoid the areas, adding that movement on the 3rd Mainland Bridge will return to status quo immediately after the marathon is concluded. Former President of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Dayo Faduyele, has said he would be the candidate of the All Progressive Congress for the governorship election coming in November this year. as the primary of the party would be held in April. Faduyele said he was prepared to change the fortune of the state when elected the governor. He stated this in Akure, the state capital, on Friday at a meeting with the party members and his supporters. He also noted that the incumbent governor, Mr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who is also a governorship aspirant of the party, was not a threat to his chance of getting the ticket of the party. Speaking on the possible imposition of a candidate ahead of the primary, the medical doctor and politician said he did not fear imposition of a candidate, while expressing assurance that whatever method used by the party to pick candidate, he would be favored. Faduyele promised that if elected as governor of the state, he would revamp the education, health and economic sector as well as infrastructure of the state. Aiyedatiwa was sworn in as the state governor following the death of the governor Rotimi Akeredolu in December. He was the deputy governor until December 13, when power was formally transferred to him after Akeredolu went on another medical vacation. The Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, has called for more collaboration among security operatives to tackle the spate of insecurity in the country. Oba Ogunwusi made the call when he received Dr. Kintayo Adaralewa, the newly deployed commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, in his palace in Ile-Ife on Friday. He said that synergy among security operatives was crucial for addressing insecurity in the country. In his response, Adaralewa said that his visit was to seek guidance, pay homage, receive royal blessings, and support of the Ooni for success in his assignment. Adaralewa assured Oba Ogunwusi that his administration would pay more attention to issues of farmers and herders clashes, among others. He said that the era of crisis between the herders and farmers would soon be a thing of the past. He also solicited credible intelligence from members of the public, saying intelligence gathering was imperative for the success of security operatives. A group of youths on Friday staged a peaceful protest in Osun State, decrying the rising cost of living with a call on the government to immediately intervene. The protesters who wielded placards with inscriptions such as "Change the unfavorable policies," "Nigerians are suffering, we can't cope again," and "We are humans, stop mistreating the citizens," among others, assembled along MDS Road, Osogbo, very early. Despite the large presence of police operatives near the scene of the protest, the youth kept singing songs expressing the frustration of many Nigerians occasioned by the harsh economy. While addressing the protesters, the chairman of Osun Civil Society's Coalition, Wahid Lawal, said the protest would continue until the federal government finds solution to the current economic hardship ravaging the country. Meanwhile, earlier in the week, youths and women took to the streets of Minna and Kano to protest what they described as the rising cost of living in the country. In Niger State, a group of women had blocked the ever-busy Minna-Bida Road at the popular Bakungu roundabout and called on Tinubu to address the problem of hunger in the land. Also on Thursday, as a temporary response to the nation's growing food crisis and the rising cost of commodities, President Bola Tinubu had ordered the immediate release of more than 102,000 metric tons of various grain types from the National Food Reserve and the Rice Millers Association of Nigeria. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. And now to Oyo State. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has signed the Oyo State Electricity Regulatory Commission Bill 2024 into law. Makinde signed the bill into law on Friday in Ibadan, the state capital. The governor, while speaking, said the signing was to allow the state to develop its roadmap for sustainable electricity. He added that it is obvious that Nigerians can't access the dividends of democracy if federalism is practiced as it should. Deputy Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Mohammed Abiodun Fadayi, said this in the first time that the state would come up with an independent electricity project. Niger State government has directed the release of Aisha Jibrin, a leader of the Minna protest who was arrested by the police, and 24 others. Commissioner of Information and Strategies, Binta Maman, stated this in her office during a press conference in the state capital on Friday. Maman also told journalists that the decision to release the suspect was a result a thorough review of the circumstances leading to the arrest of Jibrin and other women who led and took part in the protest. Residents of Mina on Monday had protested the high cost of living in the country, blocking major roads within the metropolis. The protesters, including women and youth, were heard chanting protest songs while security agents, including police, looked on. 3 women, including a 57-year-old Fatima Aliyu and 22 other persons, were amongst those arrested by the police following their participation in the protest. Several residents would express their displeasure over the arrest of the protesters. She stated that government was not unaware of the hardship faced by the people, but asked that it would not fold its hands and allow some people threaten the existing peace enjoyed in the capital city of the state. Governor Mohammed Bago of Niger State has banned the sale and distribution of food items and farm produce in bulk from the state to other Nigerian states. Bago announced the ban during a press briefing, stressing that the sale of food items in bulk has resulted in scarcity and food starvation within the state. The governor said trucks who came to pack or buy foodstuffs from our villagers in bulk should be halted for now. We have stopped mass purchases from our local markets, all our local governments from now henceforth. This is coming amid the economic hardship Nigerians are facing. With the fall in the value of the naira, the cost of food items have skyrocketed across the country, thereby causing hardship. Adamawa State Police Command has arrested 4 people for allegedly kidnapping 2 residents of Tudunwada in Michika local government area, Aminu Alhaji Shehu and Ali Alhaji Shehu. The commander said in a statement on Friday that 8 operatives made the arrest in collaboration with military operatives on February 8, 2024. It gave the names of the suspect as Abubakar Abdullahi, a 39-year-old, and a resident of Mubi South local government area, and Ibrahim Garba, 35-year-old, and a resident of Askira, UBA local government area of Uba local government area of Borno State. The other 2, according to the statement signed by police image maker Suleiman Ngoroje, are Isa Amadu, 30-year-old, and resident of Dawasa in Yobe State, Bulama Amadu, 20-year-old, and resident of Dawasa, Yobe State. The police said the suspects were arrested after they organized and kidnapped the 2 victims in the house of one of them, Alhaji Ali Alhaji Shehu. The police statement mentioned a different instance in which another coordinated crime-fighting strategy was carried out in collaboration with the hunters at Gamu Hill. And it said that the Gamu Hill operation, one of the kidnappers had been terrorizing Jada as well as Ganya and villages around them, was neutralized and 1 AK-47 recovered. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday dismissed a suit filed by Hudu Yunusa Ari, the suspended resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa, seeking protection against arrest, detention, or prosecution by the police and others. Justice James Omotosho in the judgment dismissed the suit for lacking in merit. Justice Omotosho held that though Yunusa Ari, in his fundamental rights enforcement suit, made an elaborate show by trying to shield himself from being arrested, detained, or prosecuted by security agencies, he said there was no ground where such immunity could have been granted by the courts. The judge agreed with the respondent that the suspended rec derailed his allegations when he claimed that the respondent subjected him to media trial. He observed that Yunusa Ari also claimed that his fundamental right was breached by the respondent for posting negative information against him on social media, meanwhile insisting that he was not given a fair hearing. But Justice Omotosho held that the issue of fair hearing had nothing to do with publications of newsworthy matters by the media practitioners in order not to fail in their responsibility of dissemination of information to the society. The judge said, though the fundamental rights are sacrosanct to every human being, the rights are not absolute. Justice Omotosho, who described the suit as highly unmeritorious, declared that the suit lacks merit. Students of Plateau State University, Barcos, have embarked on a protest to express their dissatisfaction with the continuous industrial action by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, which has been going on for 3 months. The aggrieved students went through the major streets in Jos, the state capital, and terminated the protest at the government house in Little Rayford, where they were received and addressed by Secretary to the government of the state, Samuel Jattel. Lecturers of the university had embarked on an indefinite strike action since November 2023 over a series of demands from the state government. Since then, the students have been at home without lectures, which has affected admissions of new intakes, while those expecting to graduate are not sure of when the final examination will take place. The frustration informed the students' decision to embark on a protest, carrying placards with different inscriptions to drive home their demands. The secretary to the government of the state appealed to the aggrieved students to be patient as the government was addressing issues raised by the lecturers. The lecturers are demanding, among other things, the provision of additional hostel accommodation, completion of road network on campus, and provision of staff quarters. The federal government has trained and distributed farm inputs to no fewer than 243 farmers in Plateau in order to boost agricultural production and ensure food security. The inputs distributed to the trained farmers include liquid fertilizers, knapsack sprayers, seeds, agrochemicals, fish and poultry feeds, among others. Temitope Fadeshemi, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, while unveiling the distribution, just said that it was part of government's conscious efforts at reducing the state of poverty across the country. Fadeshemi, who was represented by State Coordinator FMAFS, Dr. Steve Dowo, said that the intention was to uplift the lives of smallholder farmers and foster sustainable agricultural practices. The Permanent Secretary said the initiative was executed under the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy. He said the NPRGS reflected the government's dedication to addressing poverty at its roots, emphasizing the pivotal role agriculture plays in economic growth and development. Katsina State Governor Diko Rada has urged residents of the state to take proactive measures in defending themselves against attacks by bandits rather than solely relying on government intervention. The governor made the call on Friday at the government house in Katsina during an extensive emergency security meeting, while highlighting the pressing need to address the rise in security, food shortages, and poverty within the state, rather stressed the necessity for the immediate action. The meeting, attended by security chiefs, leaders of paramilitary agencies, and prominent traditional rulers from Katsina and Daura, alongside senior government officials, the governor said that the state government was contemplating establishing a task force that would stem rising food prices and insecurity in the state. He assured the people that the state government would think and act fast rather than wait for the riots that happened in Kano and Niger states to extend to Katsina state. Kaduna State Police Command has arrested 4 persons suspected to be dealing in illicit drugs and smoking Indian hemp. State Police Public Relations Officer ASP Mansa Hassan disclosed this in an interview with newsmen on Friday in Kaduna State. He stated that the suspects were arrested on Thursday at the Tafa area of Gako, local government area of Kaduna State, at about 6 p.m. According to him, the suspects were arrested at a trailer park with dry leaves suspected to be Indian hemp and other intoxicants. Hassan added that the arrest was in compliance with the directive of the State Commissioner of Police. The spokesperson gave the assurance that the suspect would be charged to court on completion of investigation. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after the break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back to the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Here is the rest of our stories. Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory have lamented the prevailing economic hardship and the increasing security challenges across the country. Secretary General Northern Elder Sunday Oibe, in a statement, alleged that the suffering in the country was becoming unbearable for ordinary Nigerians. Northern Khan also bemoaned the rampaging activities of bandits in some parts of the country in recent times, while calling for the review of the security architecture for effective and decisive action. The Christian body urged government at all levels to support the security agencies with all that is required to fight the criminals. It also appealed to all Nigerians to cooperate with security personnel and pray for them as they confront these enemies of the nation. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Gbatukun, has ordered regular and continuous reorientation courses, arms drills, and baton and rifle exercises for all police personnel across the country. The IGP reaffirmed his commitment to reposition the NPF through modern global practices through training and retraining of police officers and men. He said this at the passing out parade of personnel of the Special Protection Unit on a 2-week retraining program held at SPU Training School, Day, Abuja. The training included a brief display of martial arts skill assimilation test comprising stripping and assembling a firearm with one hand, either with eyes open or blindfolded in Abuja. The AIG SPU AIG Okon-O Efyong was represented by the DSP SPU Sebastian Dongshao, who was accompanied by some other senior officers of the unit, and reiterated the readiness to cascade such training to all commands and formations of the NPF in line with the directive of the IGP. Following the high level of kidnapping and armed robbery within Aron Mbo, Okobo, Udong Uko, Uro Ofong, Oruko, Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State, the House of Representatives has urged the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, to establish a military formation in Aron to stem the tide. This followed a motion brought before the House by a lawmaker, Martin Zessin, on the need to beef up security in Aron local government area and its environs. In his motion, Zessin noted that Aron and other parts of the constituency are bordered by the Atlantic Ocean, which provides a gateway to the Republic of Cameroon, but the porosity of the national border has paved the way for hardened criminals operating from the high sea to carry out unabated violence in the town and its neighboring areas. The lawmaker cited the abduction of a High Court judge, Justice Joy Onwana, whose driver was later murdered along Uyo Okobo Road after a court sitting on December 18, 2023. According to Zessin, who chairs the House Committee on Youth Development, the minimum presence of Nigerian armed security agencies and the lack of adequate equipment and morale among law enforcement agents in Aron and its environs was responsible for the perpetration of kidnappings, sea piracy, armed robbery, and wanton killings of innocent citizens, among other heinous crimes which have caused economic hardship in the area. The House therefore urged the Inspector General of Police and the National Security Advisor to scale up the presence of security personnel in the area by increasing surveillance and manpower in Aron Mbo, Okobo, Udong Uko, Urofong, Oruko Federal Constituency. The Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, mandated the Committees on Army and Police Affairs to monitor compliance. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives have urged the Federal Ministry of Education to implement global standards in turning around the country's education sector. This is as the lawmakers urge the federal government to promote and implement policies to enhance inclusive education. The lawmakers were making this call during the plenary adopted a bill titled "Need to Implement Global Standards and National Policy on Education," while speaking on the educational status quo and policies surrounding the implementation of inclusive education in Nigeria. A public affairs analyst, Professor Dr. Martina Wanyam, will blame the federal government for its short-sighted and unsustainable policies.
The policy of government, was not adverted towards those who have hearing challenges, sight, then those who are even dumb. But along the line, we've been inundated with having students, not just at the secondary education level, but even in tertiary institutions where you have the students come to class and you're faced with this challenge of having a student who is dumb, some who are blind in the classroom. I think that issue has not been, addressed from the beginning. So how the students are able to cope at the end of the day is something that the government should look into strictly and come up with a policy that would address and be implemented in such a way that these students, this group of persons who have disabilities, are actually, incorporated into the society properly, educationally. Like I know of a few students of ours who have disabilities. When they come for lectures, they put on their hearing aids. That's at the lecturing level. How about during exams? You find out that they cannot sit with, the normal students in class, maybe in the exam hall to write the exams. There has to be some provisions, special provisions made for them to be able to meet up with writing the exams. But if these policies had been, put in place and implemented, the students definitely would have fared better. But as it is today, we just manage whatever we say there in order to ensure that they equally,, you know, benefit from having a sound.
The House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Public Assets, chaired by Ademorin Kuye, and the Committee on Special Duties, led by Kabiru Ibrahim, to investigate and assess the performance of public-private partnership initiatives and concession agreements in the country. This directive came after a motion was presented by Saidu Abdullahi. The House expressed concern over the dwindling revenues that should accrue to the Federation accounts, and highlighted the substantial deficit in infrastructure development. It noted that the deficit has far-reaching consequences on the execution of the budget and the country's overall economic stability due to its heavy reliance on oil revenue. Recognizing the vital role of the private sector in infrastructure development, the House also acknowledged its extensive involvement in various projects such as roads, railways, airports, housing, and power generation. It stated that the partnerships have played a crucial role in driving economic growth and prosperity. The House also raised concerns about investor participation and interest, which have been hindered by a lack of coordination between government agencies and the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. Members of the House of Representatives have urged the federal government to suspend any proposed plan to recall the heads of chancery from Nigeria's foreign missions abroad, the sequel to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance. Sponsored by Umaru Ajilo from Kaduna State, the lawmaker drew the attention of members of the Green Chamber to the core functions of Nigeria's heads of diplomatic missions abroad, noting that all Nigerian heads of chancery at the time when the country had earlier withdrawn all her ambassadors in her foreign missions would give credence to the dangerous assertion of political instability in the country. Adopting the motion, the House mandated its Committee on Foreign Affairs to liaise with the Minister of Foreign Affairs with a view to resolve all issues in respect of Nigeria's foreign missions.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the House note that in the recent development, sometimes in 2023, that is last year, Nigerians recalled all her ambassadors in a major diplomatic shakeup that affected both careers and non-career ambassadors, a development that was met off with the mixed reactions by Nigerians, particularly scholars, international affairs, as many viewers it as a sign of instability. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the House are aware of a current flow or move to recall of all head of chancery from all Nigerians' foreign missions abroad. Also aware that the head of chanceries are responsible to the higher commissioners, ambassadors who major functions including the general administrations of missions which entail ensuring effective communications, links between the headquarters and the rest of the world. Preparations of the missions, budget, secretary to the missions, tenders board, amongst others. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, considering the importance of role of the head of chanceries in Nigerians' foreign missions are highlighted above. To recall all Nigerians' head of chanceries at this time, Nigeria has no ambassadors. Having earlier withdrawn all ambassadors on her foreign missions will give credence to the dangerous assertions of a political instability back home that will be hazardous to Nigerian diplomatic relationship with other countries and a huge disservices to Nigerians abroad who may need their services.
The committee is expected to report back to the House for further legislative action. And here is the business news for tonight. President Bola Tinubu has signed the Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2024 into law. Ajurin Galali, special advisor to the president, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. The House of Representatives passed the bill on July 27, 2023, and the Senate followed suit on November 14, 2023. The bill was sponsored by Baba Jimmy Benson, representing a Ikorodu Federal Constituency of Lagos State. Accordingly, the Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2024 seeks to address the development and environmental concerns of host communities and sets aside 5% of the actual annual operating expenditures of power generating companies from the preceding year for the development of their respective host communities. The bill further provides that the funds set aside for the development of host communities will be received, managed, and administered for infrastructure development in the host communities by a reputable trustee or manager to be jointly appointed by the respective GenCos and their host community. Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Layemi Cardoso, says the Apex Bank's monetary policy interventions are designed to impact Nigerians positively amid increased economic hardship in the country. Cardoso disclosed this on Friday while addressing the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Financial Institutions. He reiterated that the Apex Bank is committed to addressing the continued fluctuations in the foreign exchange markets. Cardoso officials of CBN and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, had appeared before the Senate Committee of a Rising Hardship in Nigeria. Meanwhile, according to FMDQ data, despite CBN's recent policy interventions, Naira dropped to 1,479.47 kobo per US dollar. At the foreign exchange market, the CBN issued financial markets price transparency and the market notice of a revision to the FMDQ forex markets rate, pricing methodology, and other reforms last week. The Central Bank of Nigeria has removed the spread on foreign exchange transactions. This was contained in a statement from the Central Bank of Nigeria Financial Markets Department signed by Duke Omolara Omotunde. The statement sent to all authorized dealers and dated February 8, 2024 was titled Removal of the Spread on Foreign Exchange Transactions. It said a key objective of the ongoing foreign exchange market reforms by the CBN is to promote a market-based price discovery system. Shell's exit from Nigeria's onshore oil sector highlights a risk oil majors facing Africa's biggest exporter, but has raised hopes that local firms could reverse the output decline from the Niger Delta, industry officials and analysts said. Shell, which pioneered Nigeria's oil industry, is the most prominent Western company to exit the Delta region, but blighted by pollution, oil theft, and pipeline vandalism. A business development expert, Silva Opola Charles, on Atlantic Television Network Business Live, expressed disappointment at Shell's exit from Nigeria's oil sector, as he indicated that the consequence of the exit will be so daring on both the national and economy.
For the Niger Delta, is not, they don't use the Niger Delta that oil majors that have been here for the last 60 years are leaving the region. And so how are we going to cope with that? Because the sustenance of the Niger Delta and the country depends on these oil majors. And if they are leaving, what is our template to survive, to keep the momentum, sustainability? That's the question that we have. But let me say is that the traction, global oil and gas business is now going on. And if you look at what is happening globally, the movement now is towards technology. People need, the sectors are all moved towards technology and economic services. 2009, oil and gas, top 20 capitalized companies in the world, oil and gas 36%, top 20. And then in 2018, we discovered oil and gas has dropped about 16%. Technology was about 18% in 2009. By 2018, technology looked at 56% of global top 20 companies' capitalization. So you can see that the traction for the oil and gas has been going down and has moved to technology. So that is another reason that we have to look at. They are moving out, yes. We know that the key reasons why they're leaving the region is because of sabotage and oil theft. And then the ease of doing business is a major issue for them. Then another important thing that we need to note is that the ROCE, that is return on capital employed and economic value added, have also dropped significantly, in the country. So these companies are moving out. But my major concern for the Niger Delta region is that, with the performance of the states in the Niger Delta, 6 states, for instance, look at their performance. Their performance outside FARC and the derivation, they have not done very well. the physical efficiency or physical performance of the states. It's not, apart from Rivers State that is probably doing very well, number one in the country, the rest of the states are not doing well. What we expect them to do is that they need to come the tin cap to ensure that they are part of the investments. You know, you are selling Shell to the Renaissance Group, led by Renaissance, about 5 companies, paying about $2.4 billion to take over also assets of Shell. Ohando is already taking over any assets. Mobil is going to sell to Seplat. So what we expect to happen is that there must be conscious efforts of these states in the Niger Delta to say, okay, let's have an LNG template where our state will have 40% of assets.
What bank is pledging increased financial support? What bank is pledging increased financial support to Nigeria, lauding the economic reforms of the past 8 months of President Bola Tinubu's administration? The bank's managing director of operations, Atn Global, conveyed the bank's commitment during a courtesy visit to the president at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. While addressing journalists after the visit, Jede described the Nigeria World Bank partnership as comprehensive and very fruitful, expressing a commitment to further engage on critical aspects of the country's development agenda. World Bank chief also expressed confidence that the bank would grow its current programs with the Nigerian government.
So, of course, so much has happened during this time, but I'm also coming at a time when it's really important and quite encouraging to see all the important reform steps that are being taken in the country. And the partnership between Nigeria and the World Bank is very, very comprehensive and very fruitful. And we're here to make sure that we can continue to be very supportive as these reforms are being implemented and putting the economy on a path towards recovery. And that's what we really want to do. So that's why it's important for me to be here. That's why I have been really pleased with the discussions we've had over the last 2 days, including today, of course, meeting with His Excellency the President. The outcome of the meetings are really that the World Bank will be continuing very much to support the reforms through various instruments that we have. And we will be actually stepping up our financial support to Nigeria in light of all the different initiatives that are being taken and all the needs that the economy has. So while we already have a large program, from this visit I see that the program will actually grow even further.
On his part, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, highlighted the outcomes of the 2-day meeting of Western and Central African Ministers of Finance co-hosted by Nigeria and the World Bank. Edun said the issues of development and concessional financing for the West and Central Africa topped the agenda of the summit.
Of West and Central African finance ministers with the World Bank group. And of course, issues of development, issues of concessionary financing, and increasing the level of concessionary financing to West and Central Africa in this particular case, well, what was on the agenda. And we reported to Mr. President that we had a very robust discussion, and emphasis was laid on increasing, as we have just heard from the Managing Director of Operations of the World Bank, emphasis was on increasing resources to Nigeria, to West and Central Africa, and also improving electricity access, growing the social safety net, providing greater support for digitization and technological development of our economies, and ultimately to assist in our search for solutions to the issue of development and leading our various countries out of poverty. And we had a very successful discourse. Thank you.
The Coordinating Minister of Economy emphases were laid on increasing resources to Nigeria and to West and Central Africa, and also to improve electricity access, growing the social safety net, providing greater support for digitization and technological development of our economies, and to assist in our search for solutions to development and leading more people out of poverty. And now to international news. United States has warned Israel that staging a military offensive into Gaza's southern city of Rafah without proper planning would be a disaster. Some 1.5 million Palestinians are surviving in the city bordering Egypt in dire humanitarian conditions. The White House said it would not support major operations without due consideration for the refugees there. The comment comes days after Israel's leader said the military had been told to prepare to operate in Rafah. U.S. President Joe Biden said Israel's actions in Gaza had been over the top. Reported Israeli airstrikes on Gaza on Friday killed at least 15 people, including 8 in Rafah, officials from the Hamas-run health ministry said. The U.S. President Joe Biden has hit back angrily at an investigation that found he mishandled top-secret files and struggled to recall key life events. He insisted in a surprise news briefing that his memory is fine. He gave an emotional response to a claim that he could not recollect when his son died. The inquiry found Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified files, but decided not to charge him. Department of Justice Special Counsel Robert Hall determined Biden had improperly kept classified documents related to military and foreign policy in Afghanistan after serving as vice president. The scathing 345-page report released earlier in the day said the president's memory has significant limitations. Special counsel, a Republican appointed to the role by Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland, said Biden could not recall when he was vice president from 2009 to 2017, or even within several years when his son Bill died in 2015. Prince Harry on Friday settled a long-running legal claim against Mirror Group newspapers nearly 2 months after a UK judge ruled he had been a victim of phone hacking by its tabloid titles. Duke of Sussex sued MGN, which publishes the Mirror, Sunday Mirror, and Sunday People, alleging its journalists were linked to deceptive and unlawful methods, including phone hacking. The High Court judge ruled in the Duke's favor in December after finding evidence of some practices relating to 15 of the 33 sample articles that Harry had submitted in the case. Judge Timothy Fancourt said Harry's personal phone had been targeted between 2003 and 2009, and that the 15 articles were the product of phone hacking or the product of other unlawful information gathering. He concluded that phone hacking had been widespread and habitual at MGN titles in the late 1990s, but that the Duke's phone had only been tapped to a modest extent. The judge awarded him £140,600, that is $177,300 in damages. Harry's legal claim had included a further 115 articles, and they might have become the subject of a further trial. Following a High Court hearing Friday, his lawyer David Sherborne confirmed that a settlement had been reached between the Duke and MGN to end the outstanding part of his claim. And here is entertainment news for tonight. On February 5th, 2024, the 66th Grammy Awards was held in Los Angeles, with Nigerian artists failing to win any of their 10 nominations. Reactions continue to pour in the aftermath of the 66th Grammy Awards, where the Nigerian contingent failed to pick up any of the awards they were nominated for, with some sections of the public accusing the Recording Academy of using Afrobeat for clout. Nigerian dancehall legend Timaya begged to differ. In an interview, Timaya said that there is no need for Nigerians to return home because there is no credible award locally, and the existing awards like the Headies are not credible. Timaya stated that the loss shouldn't deter Nigerian superstars. Instead, it should inspire them to push harder. The Recording Academy has received some criticisms after Burna Boy, Davido, Asake, and Olamide and Aria Star failed to pick up any awards. Davido's Unavailable, Asaka's and Olamide's Amapiano, Aria Star's Rush, and Burna Boy's City Boy lost the Best African Music Performance category to Tyler's Water. And here is the sports news for tonight. Confederation of African Football will reward the Super Eagles with 9 billion naira if they win the Africa Cup of Nations final. The Confederation had increased the cash prize for the winners of the tournament from $5 million to $7 million. The Eagles, who play the host on Sunday, are among the finalists and have already secured $4 million in cash prize. The African tournament of runners-up will receive $4 million. That's 5 billion naira. The long semi-finalists, South Africa and the Democratic Republic of Congo, will each receive $2.5 million, while the 4 quarter-final finalists will each receive $1.3 million. South Africa's head coach, Hugo Broos, says his side will fight hard to finish their campaign at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations on a high. Bafana failed to progress into the final after losing 4-2 on penalties to the Super Eagles of Nigeria on Wednesday night. The former champions will now face the Democratic Republic of Congo in the third-place match at the Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium, Abidjan, on Saturday. Confederation of African Football President Patrice Motsepe on Friday refused to confirm the date of the next Africa Cup of Nations due to take place in 2025. Cup of Nations CAF Chief Motsepe said at press conference in Abidjan, where this year's AFCON in Ivory Coast concludes this weekend, that the tournament normally takes place every 2 years, but the current edition was delayed by 6 months due to fears over a clash with the rainy season in West Africa. However, staging the next edition in Morocco next year presents various problems. Holding it in January and February leaves little time to stage a qualifying competition, with FIFA sanctioned dates in June already given over to qualifiers for the 2026 World Cup. The Moroccan Football Federation this week issued a statement in which it claimed the tournament would take place in summer 2025. However, playing it in June and July would mean a clash with FIFA's expanded Club World Cup, which is due to take place in North America. Erik ten Hag believes that Manchester United's emerging young stars will enjoy a bright future at Old Trafford if they retain their hunger to improve. After a troubled first half of the season, United have been revitalized in recent weeks by the dynamic displays of Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho, and Kobbie Mainoo. In their last 5 games, the Ten Hag side have beaten Wolves and West Ham and drawn with Tottenham in the Premier League, while also defeating Wigan and Newport in the FA Cup. United have scored 15 goals in the process, and attacking bleeds at odds with their previously misfiring from this stem. At the center of United's renaissance has been the performances of Denmark striker Højlund, Argentine winger Garnacho, and English midfielder Mainoo, who have contributed 8 of those 15 goals. The picture of the young trio sitting on an advertising hoarding together celebrating Garnacho's first goal in last Sunday's 3-0 victory over West Ham summed up this shift in mood of Old Trafford. Ahead of United's trip to Aston Villa on Sunday, Ten Hag praised the qualities the 3 youngsters have brought to previously moribund United. And that's the global news for tonight. But before we go, here is another look at the major stories. Rivers State government partners are set to transform criminality. Governor Enoch calls for NDDC's collaboration. President Tinubu signs Electricity Act 2024. CBN says policies yielding positive results. Prince Harry settles UK mirror tabloid rift. Timaya rates Grammy higher than Headies. For Eagles to get 9 billion naira for AFCON win. I'm Vivian Douglas. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media pages. On X, we're Atlantic TV Net. On Instagram and TikTok, we're Atlantic TV Network 1. On Facebook and YouTube, we're Atlantic Television Network. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Have a good night.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe.